My name is Mayank Joshi. I often call myself Joshi simply because that's what my friends have called me for so many years. I started GIN, which stands for the Gay Indian Network. I felt I was motivated in 2018 by what was happening in India. The Supreme Court had finally was debating and planning to kick out Section 377, the colonial British law that criminalized homosexuality. Friends were involved in Bombay activists and mainly Delhi. So I thought, I need to do something to help my community. So that was a little bit of inspiration. But also, I began to realize that when I was younger, there were things like Shakti that were around, South Asian LGBTQ organizations. But when I looked at the field now, in 2018, there were some excellent religious-based groups like Sarbat Sikhs, Iman, Hidayat, but not anything with a social flavor, an aspect where anybody could go to. And thirdly, a little bit more sort of more seriously even. But there were some statistics that were coming out, which on the surface were quite positive. And they were saying that the new cases of HIV across the board in England was dropping, which is good news. So new cases of HIV were coming down, which is great. But when I looked under the surface and I looked at the reports, I realized that for South Asian gay men, they had actually gone up. So I thought, let me start something that can help gay Indian and South Asian men connect in social friendly environments. They can talk to each other, make their friendships, but really build up their sort of support structures, or even hopefully their chosen families, to try and alleviate some of that loneliness, some of that isolation. At the end of September 2018, 7 people turned up in a bar in Soho. So Gin and Bombay Tonic grew, and by a Diwali party in early November, we had 70 people attending. Today, we have 2,000 members. We have renamed ourselves inevitably because Gay Indian Network was very specifically spoke about gay and being Indian. So as our number of groups and subgroups have grown, as our support services have grown, we rebranded ourselves as GIN, LGBTQIA, Indian and South Asian Network. Primarily, we support the LGBTQ community through meetups. We host between 5 to 6 meetups every month. We have one sober event, which is tea and cake. We have one drinks event. We'll go and see a film together. We'll often have a dinner event as well. So just fun places where people can come together and build up their friendships. We also have a monthly deeper conversations event. 2 out of every 3 months it's online. 1 out of every 3 months it's physical. And in those deeper conversations, it's a 2-hour meetup, so people can really talk about what's on their mind and can draw further. We also have a number of WhatsApp groups, because for me, the whole point of the GIN being this network where the purpose of GIN is to provide safe, friendly places where people can connect together. So that connecting is key. It's an important way people connect, and meet physical meetups. Not everyone can get to. We have a WhatsApp group for the main Gin and Bombay Tonic WhatsApp group, which has over 200 members. We have a women's group, Gin and Lime. We have our new trans group as well, Trans Plus group. We have our Proud Parents group, which is for Gin members who are LGBTQ. So people who have children or would like to have children and would like to know about surrogacy or adoption or fostering, So again, and that group is run by 2 wonderful people, Avnish and Gautami, both are parents. We also have the fun side, which is roast and toast for lovers of desi food. We have the film club. So it's a whole number of these events where South Asian gay men and LGBTQ people can go to, connect with each other, because it's sharing that cultural identity. So And I think that just makes people feel they're important, helps their well-being, their self-worth. When they talk about some particular religious festival, there are other people who can identify with that. We connect with other groups as well for sexual health services, for example. I mean, that's really important. I've had cases, not just one, a few cases, where Indian students have said to me, where can I get PrEP from? Or even, what is PrEP? The other problem in London is getting appointments at some of our clinics is quite difficult now. So again, we try and push out the information to say to people, look, you know what, you can get it online, you can get it ordered to you. Increasingly, our membership in the last sort of few years is probably about a third of the members are now people who've come over in what I call the new wave of immigration, primarily from India, but also from other parts of South Asia. And they have come on student visas and or young professional visas. And so really getting that information out to them is proving to be important. What's really interesting was when COVID started, all the meetups stopped, because they used to be, except for Sati, everything else was physical. So we moved everything online. And when we moved online, one of our members said to me, Joshi, I have some time on my hands, and maybe it'd be really useful to have a telephone buddy scheme. So Gin telephone buddy scheme. Encourage people to come to me and say, look, we would like to do this. So when Rohan came to me and said, look, could we have a book club, a Gin book club, to read pertinent, interesting books to the South Asian LGBTQ community, one book a month. And so, we've had that, and that's been one of the most successful part of Gin, our book club. Again, that's how Proud Parents started. When Avnish and Gautami said to me, Joshua, we're parents, and it'd be really nice if our kids could mix, or if we could go to picnics together, And it started, and suddenly there was an interest from people who would like to be parents, but were not parents. The latest group is the Trans Plus group for non-binary and trans people and non-gender conforming people. And again, when Tara spoke to me about that, they said to me, Joshi, we would really like to do this. And I thought to myself, yes, we are LGBTQIA. And we've launched that group. So we have monthly art circle. But that's really important. It has to be a ground up thing. So we need people with lived in experience to be running those groups. That's really important for people to step forward. And everybody's unpaid. It is voluntary because we agreed we'd have the concept of the Indian concept, the Sikh concept as well, of seva. Seva, let's give back to our community. And I think all the organisers buy into that really well. In terms of some of our fun events, in summer we have our famous picnics. Everybody speaks about them because we'll have 40 plus people attending each picnic in the summer. For the last 2 years, we've done this in partnership with Serbat Sikhs. So we will host these grand picnics in one of the parks in London, Hyde Park, Battersea Park, Regent's Park, and the food is incredible. Everybody competes with each other to bring cooked food, and that's lovely. And we also have our main sober event, which is at the LGBTQ Community Centre in London on a Sunday afternoon. And it's for 3 hours, where Gin normally provide tea and cake, some snacks, and people can then connect with each other in a sober space. And those have proved to be very popular as well. There is still some tough work to be done. And that tough work is communicating effectively with the community. The conversations maybe in community spaces that are hard to have, temples, gurdwaras, mosques. And I think, again, helping the newer wave of immigration that has come to the UK. I think we need to do a lot more to help two groups of people. One is the more religious-based people, but simply connecting with them is not enough. I mean, Naz and Matt do a wonderful job connecting with parents, which is wonderful. And I think we need to take that one step further. And I know Naz and Matt also go to schools and so on, which is fantastic as well. But we need to sort of normalize the dialogue in community centres, places of worship as well, especially the temples, gurdwaras and mosques. Enjoy the journey. Learn to be comfortable with yourself. Be very comfortable with yourself. Use things like the internet. There's so much information out there. Look at what's near you. If you are confident enough, then of course, connect and go to these events. If you have less confidence, try and reach out to people like LGBT Hero to see if, or groups locally to you, that you can maybe have a conversation with first. I think the other group is the people over 50, and I'm just thinking of what LGBT Hero do for that, which I think is fantastic. If you are older and you are also questioning your identity, maybe you're married and maybe you're thinking, well, I'm still bisexual or gay or lesbian or not. In which case, reach out to these groups, talk to them, go to their lovely social events. They're not judgmental and people will be friendly. The other area is we need to specifically address the needs of the newer wave of immigration. Some of them I found, and especially I found in the case of some of the asylum seekers, the levels of English are not that good. It's fine if you come as a young professional, as a doctor or an accountant or something to London. But if you've come as a refugee, then the levels of English are not good. So how do we reach out to them? What are the services that they need? I have met people whose English is poor, but they're very grateful that they can come to our events. But it is very much still the lesbian community, the non-binary, and the trans South Asian communities that are struggling. We have a website. The website is still the old name, which is gayindiannetworklondon.com, gayindiannetworklondon.com. We have about 3,000 plus followers on Twitter, where we are Gin Indian UK. We have Instagram, Gin Indian. And we have Meetup. If you just go onto Meetup and do, Gay Indian Network Meetup, will come up. Meetup is how primarily we operate. So do contact us. The website will also show you how to get to Meetup and so on. Also, you can email us, and our email is gin.lgbtqia@gmail.com. Okay.